Prince Edward Island is one of the two provinces where Via Rail doesn't operate, but I'm going to show you that there used to be a passenger railway that crossed the island province. In today's episode, we'll travel across PEI along the old railway and spend some time on the water and in the dirt to show you what makes our smallest province a fantastic place to live. And hopefully, we don't get dizzy. Now, if you're new here, let me quickly bring you up to speed. I'm Michael, and I'm taking the train across Canada with my friend Will, and looking to find what makes each province unique and incredible. This is week 4 of 10. Previously, we went hat fishing in Newfoundland, log running in Nova Scotia, and were the first people to fly a drone at the Walton Glen Gorge in New Brunswick. But maybe most importantly, we'll be riding each of the 3 trains across Canada in each of their classes: economy, business, and sleeper class. However, we won't be riding any trains this week, but we will find some, starting here.
This might be the cutest train station I've ever seen. It's now been turned into an interpretive center to talk about the old ferry that used to run here before the bridge was put in place. The trains used to run from tip to tip. Obviously, they don't exist anymore, but you can still spot them in a few places around the island, and that's what we're gonna do. I'm Michael. This is Prince Edward Island, and this is DownieLive Travels by Train. So one of the things we want to do here is go check out a lighthouse, and this MJ's Bakery and Caboose. And Caboose, turn right up here. We've come to MJ's Bakery because the sign on the side of the highway said MJ's Bakery and Caboose. Look at that, we haven't gone long at all from being on the island. Everyone just loves to preserve railway heritage. I don't know why, but I love it. I kind of wish I knew this story. It's too bad they're closed today. Hi.
Hi.
Are you MJ by chance?
I'm MJ.
MJ, I'm Michael. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Michael.
How did this Caboose come to be?
I've always wanted to bring a train back to Tignish.
Yeah.
Ever since the railway shut. My brother works with the Coast Guard, and he just happened to be in Nova Scotia, and he's seen it in a junkyard actually.
Oh.
He approached the gentleman who owned the junkyard and asked if he would sell it, and he said, no, it's not for sale. And as soon as he told him what I was looking for it for, he said, okay. He said, we'll make a deal. So.
Oh, and so why was it so important for you to have a train here in town?
Because that's the end of the line, right there on the other side of the road.
Right on the other side of that truck. MJ, thank you so much for shipping this over from Nova Scotia to, even though it's not an original Prince Edward Island train, I don't think.
A local historian who actually did a book on the railway told me that there was none of these on the island, but I found proof in pictures that there was a couple of them that had come into Summerside and Charlottetown,
So we believe it. MJ, I'm with you. I love this. Thanks so much for filling us in.
No problem.
I love that. That was so great. But of course, the railway doesn't run anymore, so we're not going to talk about it anymore. Because we're here in Prince Edward Island to see and experience the most unique and authentic parts of the province, and so we have to go see what they're most well known for. Potatoes. You thought I was going to say lighthouses. It's the world's largest potato.
Because we're here at the Canadian Potato Museum. Now, the reason there's a potato museum right here is because PEI is the potato capital of Canada. And you know we like our fries. And poutine.
The museum gives you the history of the different potatoes, how they got here, the differences between each one of them, soil management, but
this is my favorite room.
oh yeah! Wow! All sorts of old John Deere, Massey Harris, Cockshut. I don't know how any of this stuff works. I'm trying to read it all and learn about it, but I think I have a more interesting way for us to figure out how this all works.
And lucky for us, well, we just so happen to be here during the potato harvest.
Hello. You must be Jonathan. We'd love to see what you do here.
This is Jonathan, a champion potato farmer.
Did you always grow up as a potato farmer? Was your father a potato farmer?
Yeah, I'm the 4th generation of McLennan to grow potatoes on this farm. I've been growing potatoes here for a long time.
And I guess the important question is, what kind of potato do you grow so I know which one to pick in the grocery store?
The only way you'll find our potatoes in a grocery store is if you buy Cavendish Farms French fries. All of our potatoes either go to the fry plant through the winter to become French fries.
How many acres do you have?
In this field there's about 60. Altogether we grow about 700 acres of potatoes.
Wow. How heavy is that truck right now?
It's holding about 30,000, 32,000 pounds of potatoes. That's about 60,000 servings of French fries.
That's more than my yearly intake of French fries.
These tractors scoop out the potatoes from 10 rows in the ground and drop them into this row. Next, the harvester comes along, scoops them out of the ground, separates the potatoes from the dirt, and loads the potatoes into the truck alongside. It actually usually only takes about 5 minutes to load an entire truck.
So now that they've got this into the truck, where does it go?
We gotta go to the warehouse.
Let's go to the warehouse.
Now, as the truck gets to the warehouse, it backs up to this hopper where it slowly empties the potatoes onto this conveyor belt and brings them along to the dirt eliminator, where these fingers pull the clay and dirt off the potatoes. Then, the potatoes come along through this sorting area where the ladies here pull out any rotten potatoes, sticks, rocks, or really anything else, so that only the best potatoes make it to the next stage. Here, the potatoes go past another set of watchful eyes and hands before they continue along the conveyor belt, finally going past Jonathan himself. He is always the last hands and eyes on those spuds before they make it to their final destination, the warehouse here.
This is a potato bunker. Look at that. So how many thousands of pounds of potatoes?
Actually millions. This warehouse holds 2.5 million pounds of potatoes.
The potatoes will stay here all winter, and in the spring, they'll get sent to be made into French fries.
So Jonathan, after the whole day with you, I have one important question. Where can I go get some of your French fries in town?
In town, you have to go to Wendy's. Is the best place to go.
Is there one in town?
Yep.
We're off to Wendy's. This is the nearest Wendy's, and these potatoes came from that field. So from field to fried in under 100 kilometers.
Now that's pretty good, but I bet we can find a way to get our food in an even shorter distance.
Okay, now we're gonna change it up because Prince Edward Island, in the name, is an island. So we are headed out to sea, do a little deep sea fishing. This is Captain Perry taking us aboard.
Thank you. Going fishing today.
All right, off we go. Wish us luck.
We're fishing for mackerel, and the instructions we're given are to drop our line until it hits the bottom, then pull it up about a foot, and keep yanking that line up and down until something bites. And immediately people are getting lucky.
I think it's your job to pull them off.
I guess so, all right.
This is meant to be a fun day on the water in the sun, trying something neither Will or I had ever tried.
This may shock you, but this is actually my first time ever fishing.
I've never been fishing either.
Oh, there you go.
Once we figured out there was a way to make this competitive, well, you know what happens. The bet is simple. Whoever catches the biggest fish and whoever catches the most. Loser goes swimming. It pretty much comes down to whoever has the most luck. And right away, Will is reeling one in. And it gets away. Back at 0. But before you know it, Will had not just one, but 2 fish reeled in.
There you go.
And one was big.
Nice. That's a beauty.
Lucky for me, I like a little pressure. And the next thing you know, I've tied it up at 2 fish each. But Will still has the bigger fish. Boom! I've got a 3rd fish on the line. This puts me in the lead. Not much time left for Will. And he manages to pull one in, tie it up for 3 fish each, which means his bigger fish crowns him the winner.
So we all just caught the fish. We're barbecuing them right on the boat. We're gonna try it. Perfect, thank you. This could not be even any fresher. We're not even off the boat yet. Now I have to admit, I don't love seafood, but when you've caught it yourself, you're out on the boat and this is the experience on Prince Edward Island, well, you do it. It's fish. It has that fishy taste, which I don't love, but straight off the barbecue, look how light and fresh that is. Thank you, Chef, for a great job on the barbecue. Great day on the water. Now it's time to show you where we're staying tonight, because it's pretty interesting. Now, I don't normally show you where I stay. I like to keep the action moving forward, keep the adventure going, not show you where we stop, but this is Canada's only 360-degree rotating house, and we're staying here. So let me show you inside how this all works. So as we come inside, you'll notice it has a lovely living room, a big spacious kitchen, and a great king-size bed. Nice touch with the swans. Just for those who are wondering, there is also a Murphy bed. Ta-da! But I think the most fascinating part is the bathroom. Why? Because we're moving. How do all the pipes work? Where does the water go if you're constantly rotating? You see, the apartment is nice, but what's impressive is what's underneath. So let's go see that.
Steve here and his wife wanted to build a round house here in PEI to be a little different. But after a trip to Australia and seeing a revolving house, they thought, why not make their new round house rotate? So after a lot of work with an engineering firm, This is how it all came together. The heart of the system is this central pivot point, made from a German construction crane bearing and balancing on wheels around the outside edge. But to make it rotate silently and smoothly without guests noticing it, the rotation is powered by two 1-horsepower motors which turn the outside ring. But the big question with the rotating house is, what about the pipes and electrical system?
Right now, everything that's on the attached to the platform, whether it's these plumbing fixtures, or electrical, it's fixed to the platform. And the same way that the house on top of the platform is fixed, wires and pipes aren't moving around. It's something else that's moving, right? Everything else, it goes up through the hollow crane bearing. Basically, they coil in and go up through the top. But the real secret to making the house work, and you wouldn't know this yet because you haven't been here long enough, it goes 360 degrees and stops and goes back again.
What great creativity for you to have the idea to combine the idea of having a roundhouse on top of what you've seen with a rotating house.
For us, we want to create a really special tourist, bucket list. Yeah. We did it with a specific reason, so people could come and get changing views. But I think people wanted to do something special. They were cooped up for, at that point, a year or whatever it was, and they wanted to do something. And so we provided that something that's a little different and special.
Oh, good.
And so far, it's paid off. Like, people seem to enjoy it, the special nature of it.
That's what we came for. So let's see this. Thanks very much, Steve. And I looked around and I noticed our door is now here. It was on the other side when we went downstairs, so.
It's moved on you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it around to us.
No problem.
Laundry? The laundry machines from the rotating house are in this shed here. Not only this episode, this entire series is presented by Tru Earth. And not just because they believe in what I'm doing and showing you all of Canada, but because I believe in what they're doing and trying to make a plastic-free household. Now, there are a few key benefits to using the Tru Earth Eco Strips. Obviously, the first is that it's small and portable. Imagine me traveling with one of those large liquid detergent jugs. Not the case with this. In fact, the entire packaging is plastic-free. And you can buy them at the store, or they can mail them to you if you'd like. It's obviously fantastic because of the size for traveling, but it also works in any machine. These behind me, cold water only. Top loading, no problem. Whether it was hot water and front loading, no problem. All you do, tear it open. The packaging is recyclable and biodegradable. Pull out one of the eco strips, 1/2 for a normal load, 2 for a big load. Will and I happen to be using 2 machines, and it's as easy as that. Now, not only has them supporting this series made this entire trip possible, but they've also given us a discount code. So if you click the link in the description down below and use discount code DownieLive, you get 10% off and reduce a little plastic in your household. Look, I'll be frank with you, I don't like doing laundry, but it works and it's easy and it's good for the planet. Why not? So thank you, Tru Earth, and while that runs, let's get back to the action. Oh gosh, I was rotated on me.
Now, since we're on an island and staying right next to the national park, you know what we have to do.
The rotating house is just right there on top of the dunes. It's a nice little walk down to the beach. I lost the fishing challenge, so I have to go for an evening swim. Oh no! Oh, it's cold. I think you should come in. I think you should come in. As they say, it's better to gather. Come on in and join. This is what friendship is all about. Oh no, no, no. Okay. Thank you for joining us on another swim. Now there's only one other spot on Prince Edward Island that has a greater railway history than what MJ has behind her bakery. It's here at the Elmira train station and railway museum. See, there was one railway that went across Prince Edward Island, and Elmira here was the end of the line. And they've kept the station as a museum, and inside it's pretty much exactly as it was as a train museum before it was taken out.
And there's another train station still standing in PEI, and it's maybe the nicest. This is Kensington Station.
It's a beautiful building, and it's a National Historic Site of Canada. So it will always be here, well protected and kept, hopefully like this, which is great because it's an important spot for the growth of Kensington. The town of Kensington would have been nothing without the passenger rail station here to bring people in. The railway helped build this province, and it built this building. But the most significant impact that the Prince Edward Island Railway has had on the island for current state isn't the Elmira station, it's the fact that they've had all of the tracks removed, except for these ones here at the station, and replaced with the Confederation Trail, which is now a very nice, flat, multi-use trail, cycling, walking, running, that goes across the entire province. Parts of it are in the forest, parts of it run along the sea, and it comes right downtown, like here in Summerside, right next to the old railway station, which is now a brewery. So even though the Prince Edward Island Railway no longer exists, things like the train stations and where the tracks used to lie are still being used.
Now, since we're in Summerside and the town name sounds so nice, I thought I'd spend the night and check in first thing in the morning with the Canadian Coast Guard. Since Prince Edward Island is an island, being on the water is a big part of life here, and the Canadian Coast Guard is there for you in case anything goes wrong.
This is Captain Morrissey. Hi. Good morning.
Now, because safety is paramount with the Coast Guard, the first thing I had to learn was how to put on and use the safety equipment, just in case something happened to us out there.
I feel like an astronaut almost.
Once I'd figured that out and put it back properly, it's time to head to the boat. Now, they were nice enough to show me all the safety equipment on board, as well as giving me a full and detailed tour of the boat. I mean, the cockpit is full of buttons, switches, toggles, and ooh, a cool red light. Okay, look, there's a lot to it, and it's not necessarily important for us to know how it all works, as long as they know how it all works. And they know it inside and out. One of them is going in for scheduled service, and the second is its replacement. And so because they actually have two vessels right now, it kind of allowed them to do some unique training exercises. And well, you and I just get to go along for the ride.
Now, because this is a search and rescue operational vessel, it could be called out at any time, and we would have to abandon all other operations.
We're operating in our AOR, our area of responsibility right now.
Okay. What an incredible part of the world. Lighthouses, sunrise. So in bad weather, the captain will drive from here. But on a day like today, on the top deck. So while you're out here and the weather is perfect, and you have two vessels, you want to make good use of your time out here. So what are you guys about to do?
Currently, the Cap Nord is getting ready to do a man overboard exercise, which simulates two things: training for the crew, in the event one of the crew members fall overboard, and also if you're picking up a person in the water, a victim from a marine tragedy.
So they've just thrown Oscar in the water. Don't worry, Oscar is not a real human. It's just a dummy. Here they come rapidly. The water is cold. You want to get them out as quickly as possible. Looks like they got him. That was very quick. He seems to be alive and well, Oscar. He'll go on to have a long life.
Now, since the Canadian Coast Guard has to respond to many situations in all sorts of weather, it's important that they have the equipment to do the job. And these vessels have some unique capabilities.
Look at the horizon! I didn't think I could get seasick! Holy cow! That's better than most roller coasters.
Can be a big carnival ride.
Yeah. Now if you look closely in the distance, you can see the Confederation Bridge, which is of course the bridge we drove onto the island from, New Brunswick. Wow, under the Confederation Bridge.
Now, unfortunately, Oscar has been horsing around and landed himself in some cold water. Again.
We have simulated man overboard, do you copy? Over.
Roger.
So we have a call for an person overboard,
Person in the water.
and we're the
Man
nearest boat to recover it at the GPS coordinates given. Well, we better go get him.
overboard. Better go get him.
Okay. Is that him?
We've located Oscar.
Yeah.
Crew are preparing the rescue zone, and we're going to commence trying to pick him up.
Alrighty. Oscar, what are you doing out here again? Glad you're okay.
Now, as we're heading back to base, Captain Tommy invited me downstairs to join him in the cockpit. And he's here pointing out all the instruments, gauges, and gadgets that they have. And I really just realized how much knowledge and experience you have to captain a vessel and a crew like this. And somehow, without me having any of that knowledge, Captain Tommy told me to press the red button.
But why have I pressed the red button?
So that you can take control and steer the vessel.
So I am now steering. So the reason I'm allowed to drive a Coast Guard boat right now is because Transport Canada only requires that
The licensed operator is on board.
I'm speechless. I'm officially steering, driving, operating? What do you call it? Steering. I'm steering a Coast Guard vessel. Well, we have some pretty capable vessels, some very capable people, and if you're in the Northumberland Strait here between New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island, you are in good hands. But Oscar, I recommend you find a job on land. Have you ever heard of the prairies? Maybe you should consider that.
Now that we're back on dry land, we're gonna go try something I've never done before.
I just met Dennis King, Premier of Prince Edward Island. How's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you guys? Welcome to PEI. This is awesome. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks. What should we make sure we do when we come to Prince Edward Island?
It just depends on how much time you have. You're in one of the most beautiful places in the world here right now on Lennox Island, so...
Well, thank you. We have a lot to do, and I hope I make your province proud.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and keep up the good work.
Pleasure to meet you. What a random occurrence. And I've also just met Chief Bernard here, and so where are we?
We're on Lennox Island First Station. Beautiful island off of Prince Edward Island.
It sure is, and we are making bannock, and we're smoking oysters. It's gonna be a great day. So anything we should know about Lennox Island?
Lennox Island is the most beautiful First Nation in all of the world. We love Lennox Island.
A very accurate statement. Love it. And now we're here for a bannock and clam experience with Sarah.
Hey.
This experience has us making a bread dough, then digging a hole in the sand under the campfire, which has been burning for about an hour already to heat the sand, so that when we put the bread in the sand, it will slowly bake.
And so really what's important is not to have a raging fire with flame, but just really hot base.
Exactly.
Putting in the flour, cover the base.
Yeah, so we're gonna put our bannock on top of this. There.
So we've covered it in flour. It's now, we're gonna cover it with the sand, which is very hot.
Yes.
But it's technically not touching the bannock thanks to all the flour. And we'll just let this bake.
Kind of like in an oven. Now we have an hour to kill, and while we have the bread baking beneath the fire, well, we might as well use the top of the fire for something. So how about some smoked oysters?
So we've just put some fresh oysters on the fire. The nice thing about smoking them is the oysters pop open themselves by the heat, and so you don't actually need to shuck them. So you're just able to pull them open with your fingers. Look at that. Oysters, I would say, are definitely not my favorite food in the world. But I do love a good experience, and there's something about the experience of eating an oyster. I'm glad I tried it. Oysters, not my thing. But I know if you enjoy oysters, you'll probably enjoy this. If you've never had them smoked before, you've got to try it. So we just pulled it out. You can see all the flour on the bottom. We flipped it over. It's protected it. We don't see that we've ruined the bannock or pierced it with the shovel. It's looking good. So when we put it into the fire, we put it into that bed of flour and surrounded it completely by flour, and that's what's black and burnt around the edges. So we're just pulling that off and exposing the fresh bannock on the inside. Woo! A little bit of molasses.
Oh yeah, hot bannock.
Oh yeah. Let me get in.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you, Sarah. Cheers. Here we go.
I'll do the same for me.
Just right, Sarah.
Right?
Just right.
That was all you guys.
She's too kind. As much as I love baking bread, fresh bannock under a campfire, and, you know, smoked oysters, not my favorite thing in the world, but Will loved them. But it's spending the day out here at Lennox Island, as we just heard from Chief Bernard, the most beautiful place in the world. And we got to spend a wonderful day with Sarah. So thanks for taking the time, Sarah. This was a lot of fun. Well, it's our last morning at the rotating house, and we got up early. We wanted to show you the sunrise, but there's too much fog out there. So now we're off to Quebec. Here's a little sneak peek of what's to come.
We leave PEI and head to a small and remote island in Quebec, which I quickly discover is my new favorite place in Canada. Then the Coast Guard take us full speed on a rescue mission in the St. Lawrence River, before we take the train to Montreal to walk amongst the oldest and most significant trains in Canada, to be one of the first to see the future of light metro in Montreal. But that's next week. What I've learned from this week is that even though PEI doesn't have a functioning train, it still holds on to its railway heritage. And at the same time, there are people here working to make this beautiful province a little more interesting, a little safer, more delicious, and more inviting.
This has been DownieLive Travels by Train, Prince Edward Island. Now you just saw the teaser of what's to come, but I haven't done it yet, so I don't know where I'm going next. But I know I want you there with me. So I'm Mike, and I'll see you next week.